They're my favorite onion garlic member. And roll this corn right into queso fresco. I always add a touch of sugar. Don't tell Alexis. So many recipes that we use on an everyday basis call for onions. And so many of us start to cry the minute we start to slice, dice, or chop. Well, here's an easy solution to prevent crying. Slice onions as close to an open flame as you possibly can arrange. You can use the flame of a candle, or you can work close to the stove. I'm on a small breadboard right next to a high flame on my gas stove. And then you can chop up to 20 or 30 pounds of onions, as I used to do when I was catering, without shedding even a tear. I thought I'd show you just a cute trick for peeling an entire head of garlic. Just put the whole head of garlic in a bowl. You have to have two of the same size bowl for this. Put the other bowl right on the top like this and shake. Something good is happening. I smell a lot of garlic. Ah, and look what's in the bowl. 1 perfectly peeled clove, 2, 3, 4. This is the fastest, most efficient way of peeling garlic I have ever found. So here we have all our garlic nicely peeled. Fun, right? Carrots are my go-to vegetable for when I'm really desperate for something green. I cook up some orange carrots. They're very versatile. They can be served raw in salads, they can be steamed, they can be roasted, and they can even be braised, of course. When you're buying carrots, look for bright colored carrots with smooth skin and a firm texture. And this is a very nicely formed carrot with nice long tops. And the tops should be attached when you buy them. That's buying organic, which we should all do if we can, as often as possible. And here I'm just cutting the carrot tops off, reserving a few of the carrot leaves for this dish, because they are a vegetable. The leaves are a vegetable as well as the root. And peel with one of these little hand peelers. You want one that doesn't take off too much of the peel, just enough, takes that tougher outer skin off. And there, it's a very nice, clean carrot. And this recipe is called brown sugared carrots. So peel and halve lengthwise 1 to 1.5 pounds of carrots. Try to have them pretty much the same size. Ready to cook the carrots. In a large skillet, large enough to hold all of the carrots, heat 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil and cook the carrots in that pan until they start to lose some of their moisture. Move them around, coat them with the oil. So now while you're sauteing, add a little bit of salt to your carrots. This does actually help pull the moisture out of the carrots and makes it easier once you add the sugar to caramelize those carrots. You can add a little bit of pepper too. Now again, by cooking, you really enhance the color of these carrots. They're a brighter orange than they were when you put them in the pan. While this is all going on, you could, at the same time, make your garnish of green carrot tops. These are very greatly enhanced if you fry them. So these are just pieces of the carrot top, and I have some grapeseed oil heating here in this pan. Oops! Watch out, it does splatter. Oh yeah, this does a very nice quick fry, and that'll be a pretty garnish. So I'll just add a bunch of these and stand away. They have a lot of moisture in them. And fry until a little bit crispy. So after about 3 minutes, add your sugar and molasses. That's 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, and 1 tablespoon of molasses. Whew. Very pretty. Look how they fry. And cooking them in something like a grapeseed oil is very good because that has a very high smoking point. Look how beautiful they look. And again, stir the carrots
Now, if you left this cooking without any additional moisture, you might get some burned carrots. So I would suggest adding a little bit of water. And keep cooking, watching until the carrots are tender. And you might add up to, about a cup of water if your carrots are large and tough. So now while the carrots are cooking, add a sprig or two of fresh rosemary just into that thickening sauce. And they're starting to get a little tender. Watch the point of a knife, just starting to penetrate easily. When it goes through easily, you know that it's done. Now, before you turn these off, put a small piece of butter, about 1.5 tablespoons, into the pan. And now you can scoop these out onto a platter and garnish with your fried carrot tops. How unusual and how beautiful. They're my favorite onion garlic member. This is a well-grown young leek. Good quality leeks are firm and they're smooth and they're free of any blemishes. And to prepare them, cut off the green leaves and cut off the root end right here, right below where the roots start. You do not want the leaves to separate. And slice the leek in half lengthwise. Now these have to be washed. Put this leek and all the other cut leeks in a bowl of water and rinse very, very well to get all that dirt out. And then put them back together like that, and they're ready to cook. Now here is an alternative method of eating corn that I find utterly delicious. I went to Mexico City last year, and I couldn't believe how fabulous the Mexican street corn was. It's served on sticks like that, and the corn is coated with either sour cream or a tablespoon or so of mayonnaise. Hot corn, just slather on the mayo. Ugh, it's so good. And now sprinkle with a little cayenne pepper all over and roll this corn right into queso fresco and serve that just like that with some wedges of fresh lime. That's Mexican corn on the cob. This next recipe is from my daughter Alexis, who cooks 3 meals a day for anywhere from 3 to 5 people. So she's really busy and she loves to make beautiful food, and this is a beautiful salad and it's extremely delicious. The trick is to cut all of the vegetables into similar sized pieces so that each bite offers a colorful mix of flavors. First thing, corn goes into boiling water. I always add a touch of sugar, don't tell Alexis, and coarse salt. About 1/2 teaspoon of salt and just a big pinch of sugar. And cook the corn for 6 minutes. Now, string beans are cut into about 1/4 inch pieces and eliminate the tip. That won't look pretty in the salad, so just cut them into 1/4 inch pieces. Have a pot of water boiling, and again, the water should be lightly salted. It does impart a very nice flavor to the beans. So this one's ready to go right back into the bowl. And this can go right into our pot of water. I'll put the green beans in first. And yellow beans. These are called wax beans or yellow beans. I love the color of them. They're so pretty. And Alexis's children love this salad. They've been brought up on a lot of vegetables. And I think that when everything is cut up into a similar size, it's very appealing to young children. They think it's all just for them. So here's the yellow beans. They're a little bit more tender than the green beans, and so they can be put in now. I have a bowl of iced water right here next to me, and you see the ice is in the water, and then I have a strainer set into the iced water. That way no ice is going to get into the vegetables when I finally take them out. Look at the color. Isn't that great? So keep cooking those. Now I've pre-prepped all the other vegetables except the last tomato, just to show you. A plum tomato is good to use for this particular salad because it doesn't really have very many seeds. It's a lot of pulp. Don't take the skin off. Just slice the tomato and squeeze out the seeds. Take the beans out of the water. Oh, they look perfect. Okay. We're just waiting for the corn. 6 minutes, and it should be ready to cool off. It smells so good. Again, this can be chilled also to make it easier to handle. Dry the corn on a towel, and you can take it off right onto the towel. It's perfect. And then just slice right close to the cob, but don't take the cob with it. Break up the corn. Looks so pretty. So now we're ready to use this corn. This can go right into your salad bowl. And now the string beans can also be dried in the same towel. Oh, they look perfect. Add your tomatoes, your English cucumber that's been peeled, red pepper deveined and seeded, yellow pepper deveined and seeded, red onion. And of course you could use white onion, green onion, beautiful cilantro leaves, jalapeno pepper, and dump in your string beans, golden and green. Sprinkle with black pepper and 2 teaspoons of salt and best quality olive oil, about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. That's 1, 2. And rice vinegar. This is Japanese rice vinegar. It is really good. And this too, 2 tablespoons. And toss. Wouldn't you like to have this for lunch today or dinner? Once considered unfamiliar, but it's now becoming a staple in many kitchens. Its unique flesh, when cooked, is sweet and nutty and separates into spaghetti-like strands. It's one of the simplest vegetables to roast, and it looks like magic. Watch. The medium-sized cylindrical-shaped squash, called spaghetti squash, can be yellow-skinned, cream-skinned, or tan-skinned, and can range anywhere from 2 pounds to 8 pounds in weight. The peak season for spaghetti squash is early fall through winter. And I'm going to roast this today. We're going to cut the squash in half. It's a little hard to do, so use a very sharp chef's knife and go through the skin. I find resting it on a cloth like this really helps. And then go in the opposite direction. There. Oops. It worked. There. Now there are seeds inside a spaghetti squash. And so with a spoon, you can just scrape out. It's like the inside of a pumpkin. Take out all the fibers. Not all of them, because some of them might be attached to the spaghetti-like fibers, which will emerge when cooked. You can roast the seeds just as you would a pumpkin seed. They're nice. And this squash is served in lots of vegan restaurants as a substitute for pasta. So now for roasting, preheat your oven to 425 degrees. And you're going to now sprinkle olive oil all over the cut side and sprinkle it with salt and pepper inside. You could, if you like garlic, rub it with garlic. You could roast a few cloves of garlic underneath the cut halves if you like. But I'm cooking it on parchment paper. This both makes cleanup a lot easier and also keeps the flesh from touching any metal during cooking. And a little bit of salt on the outside too. Okay, ready to pop into the oven. 425, and you cook it until it is tender. That's going to take about 1 hour. You can pierce the skin with the point of a sharp knife. So you see how nicely this breaks up into this beautiful spaghetti-like fiber. And just scrape it out. No clumps. No clumps allowed. It really is like magic. Now this, we're going to toss with some delicious flavorings. So into this, very, very beautiful fibrous squash. Add about a half a teaspoon of red pepper flakes. Some black pepper, quarter of a teaspoon. About a half a teaspoon of salt. The juice of half a lemon. You're treating this just as you would, oops, a very simple pasta. Lemon juice just adds a nice brightness to the squash. Half a cup of parsley. You could use basil if you like. You could use chervil. Lightly toss this. Don't mush it because you don't want to break those fibers or mush the fibers. This is light and fluffy. A little bit of olive oil. Not too much. And a generous sprinkling of Parmesan cheese. If the squash is still nice and warm, this will kind of melt into the squash. Now, I love this with ricotta cheese. I love it with pieces of mozzarella cheese so that they'll melt into the hot fibers. Many, many different things can be used to enhance the flavor of spaghetti squash. So this is enough for, I would say, 3 generous servings. Serve it as you would a lovely pasta dish. A little bit more cheese on top. And a tiny bit more oil.